In this video, I would like to present how an HR department in a hospital should function in the context of implementation of NABH standards. I do not refer to any particular hospital, and just I present the functions in general as per the NABH standards. And say if the material, if the things that are mentioned in this video are implemented, even if it is be a say non-accredited hospital, it will be very convenient for efficient functioning of a HR department. So let us go by one the functions that are to be carried out in the HR department. First of all, the HR department should define its scope of services and also the activities, and should form a document on this. And in addition to preparing the document, the information that is contained in the document should be conveyed to the staff also, and that can be done through office mail or inter-office memo, and however it need not be displayed on board, but the list of activities that are mentioned in the document should be kept in a file and kept in the HR department. Now, the HR department should next prepare a document on the HR Administrative Policies and Procedures Manual, and that should also be conveyed to the concerned staff, and it should contain the duty hours, the staff strength, and if there is shift, then the staff strength per each shift, and organization chart of the HR department, and the major activities of the HR department. Now, the HR department can also have a matrix showing the job responsibilities and authorities of the various employees in the HR department. So it can be under the following columns. Say designation of each staff member, the responsibilities entrusted to each staff member, and what are the authorities entrusted to each staff member, and what does each staff member supervise, and by whom he is supervised. So this forms the matrix of job responsibilities and authorities of the HR department. Now, in addition to this, the HR department should also discuss with other decision makers of the organization and prepare the administrative policies and procedures of the hospital, and should document the same, and it should also be conveyed to the hospital staff and this should be according to the statutory and regulatory requirements also, and the hospital policies and the procedures must contain the hospital administration organogram of various departments, then and the hospital staff should be aware of the rules and conditions and laws according to which they have to function, and in that manual we can have, say, first, as I mentioned earlier, the hospital administrative organogram, the organogram of the various departments and the names of designations, various designations in each department. Then it should have the staff and or employees' rights and responsibilities charter, and that should be prepared, and all staff should be made aware of the same. Then it has to prepare the patient rights and responsibilities, and it should be documented, and it should be also be conveyed to the patients and their families. And for preparing this, more details can be collected from the NABH website and can be included. And it is good to prepare the charter in 2 languages. And what are the things that are to be mentioned in the charter is mentioned as follows: right to information on the estimated cost of treatment, 2, right to dignity and privacy during examination, procedures and treatment, and right to protection from physical abuse, and right to information in an understandable manner, and right to refusal of treatment, and right to uniform treatment and care for all classes of treatment, and right to informed consent before procedure and for treatment and or treatment. So it is the responsibility of the HR department to ensure that the charter is implemented and communicated to all concerned, including the hospital staff. Now, next is, then there should be an immunization schedule for those staff who are dealing directly with patients, for example, doctors, nurses, technicians, housing and housekeeping staff, and such other types of staff. And there should be a predefined plan for regular health checkup also. Now let us pass on to another function of the HR department, namely the recruitment. So, and the recruitment should be according to the scope of services of the organization. And it is necessary that there should always be the necessary amount of skilled staff for patient care, and there should not be any deficiency of skilled staff in any specialty. Every specialty should have sufficient skilled staff, and the nurse patient ratio has to be accurately maintained. Now let us discuss about the competency metrics. The HR department should have a competency matrix. In the competency matrix, say job analysis, and then what are the qualifications required for each job, and what are the jobs that can be done independently by an employee, and what are the jobs which are to be done under supervision, etc., should be indicated. So the job matrix consists of the following columns, the headings, for example. The competency matrix consists of the following headings. Say job type and analysis. Then the desired qualifications to suit the job requirement that we are getting from the job type and job analysis. Then we are giving a title to the post, namely post or designation, and then privileging responsibilities or authorities and tasks which the person will be allowed to perform under supervision. So under job type and analysis, let it be a senior nurse for ICU, and so each job analysis can be done. What are the duties she has to perform? What are the characteristic requirements of the job? That is the job analysis is the characteristic requirement of a particular job, and then the desired qualifications can be listed. And the third column, what is the post? ICU head nurse, a title can be given to that. Then privileging responsibilities, activities. What are the duties that can be done by her independently, and tasks which the person will be allowed to perform under supervision, and that has also to be listed. So all the staff must be clearly be able to understand their responsibilities and authorities, and be competent to discharge their duties effectively. Once again, stressing on privileging of services. Privileging means jobs which can be done by an employee independently according to or based on his qualifications, skill, competence, and experience, etc. And for example, and privileging doctors and nurses is compulsory, and it is also recommended that a copy of this privileging report should be given to them along with their job responsibilities and authorities, and it is also preferable to have the competency metrics for lab technicians, blood bank technicians, OT technicians, and dialysis technicians, and give a copy to them along with their job responsibilities and authorities. And all doctors and all staff should know about the services for which they are privileged and for which they require supervision. And also, hospital staff also should know about the privileging of doctors and nurses. But this document need not be given to other staff, and only it can be kept in the HRD section, HR department, and also the top management. So, and it may be noted that because of privileging, the strength of job responsibilities and authorities increases. Now, antecedent verification. Now, it is necessary that Only registered doctors and nurses shall be appointed, and therefore their register numbers, qualifications, experience, and past incidents, etc., should be verified. And so that means the antecedent verification should be done. And also, in certain areas like stores and pharmacy also, see the antecedent verification is essential, and nothing and it is better to have antecedent verification for all new staff also. And then and the recruitment should be linked to the competency metrics. And if an appointment or recruitment is made which is deviating from the competency metrics, and that should be noted, and also the competency metrics should be updated periodically, and when it is revised it should be consulted with the other concerned departments also. Next we come to the pre-employment medical checkup, and the NABH insists that there should be pre-employment medical checkup. So for all new staff, doctors and paramedics, an induction program is a must, and at least the following things have to be included: hospital policies and procedures and values and ethical practices, and then hospital's code of conduct, protocols, vision, mission, service standards, familiarization with different departmental service standards, and different medical specialties and facilities, and different programs like infection control, safety, hygiene, quality control, etc. Then the awareness of process of performance appraisal and its importance in personal growth and development is to be given. Other topics are employees' rights and responsibilities, patients' family rights and responsibilities charter, and maintenance of personal. Now we go to the maintenance of personal records of staff. Is a very important task. That is a very important task of the HR department, and the file should contain the following: one, personal details like the qualification and experience, and copies of certificates, copies of records from previous jobs and the current jobs, and copies of training records from the previous jobs and the current jobs, both internal and external, and records of health status, including pre-employment medical examination report, immunization status, previous illness, etc., etc. Then it should contain offer letter, appointment letter, promotions, salary increment letter, and results of performance appraisal, and any inter-office memo issued, if any, etc. And the record of disciplinary action taken, and records of achievements and recognition awarded to the staff. And all these things are to be updated then and there. Then so, and HR department should keep the register numbers of doctors and pharmacists and other required staff as per law and as per law and all these documents are of confidential nature and it should also be listed to whom this is approachable or accessible and then there should be a register containing a list of outsourced services and the names of outsourced services, contact details, and that should be kept in the HR department. And the agreements with the outsourced services and the MOUs and the service contracts and all these things have to be updated in the HR department. And controlling of outsourced services and monitoring of quality of outsourced service also to be done by the HR department. And they have to be informed. That is, the outsourced services have to be informed about the hospital standard quality requirements. And the outsourced services employees, and they should also be given training awareness sessions. And say the hospital HR department can give suitable training module to them and ask them to conduct the training session for their staff. All the records of the training activities should be kept in the HR department, and the effectiveness of training programs have to be examined. And then there can be an internal audit program for monitoring the outsourced services, or there is the performance of outsourced services like housekeeping, catering services, and who are housed inside the hospital premises. At fixed intervals, the audit of the outsourced services may be conducted, and if they are not satisfactory, then they have to be terminated. So there can be a register kept for control of outsourced services, name of the vendor or contractor, and contact details of the vendor contractor, name of the hospital, and contact details of the hospital. Then under the name of the vendor contractor, then who is the coordinating head and what is the nature of service provided, and for each nature of service provided, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Similarly, name of the hospital, coordinating head, who is that, and what are the parameters to be monitored, and like that a matrix can also be created. Next we come to the performance appraisal system. The HR department should develop, document, and implement a system of performance appraisal as per predefined criteria and at predefined intervals. And the performance appraisal is a good source of understanding further training needs of the staff. And the HR department should maintain the records of all such appraisals. And the results or ratings should be shared with the individual staff. It is said here that there should be an atmosphere of mutual discussion between the appraisee and the staff, and the key results areas shall be communicated to the staff very clearly. And the staff should understand clearly what is strong and weak points are and what steps are required for further improvement in performance. And also, it is said that the staff should get a clear picture of future growth prospects in the organization. And the staff should be made aware of the appraisal system during the induction. This is also an NABH requirement. HR should develop and document and implement a hospital-wide training and development program. So, and it should have a planned training calendar and maintain all training and evaluation records. And while planning the topics for training, also consider the staff performance appraisal results and findings. So review the training program periodically and make changes accordingly. And this is required for continuous improvement of service standards of the hospital. And the training program should include all the staff, including the doctors, contract workers, part-time workers, and ambulance drivers. Include the staff belonging to outsourced services stationed within the hospital, for example, housekeeping, catering, security, etc. Pharmacy staff should be trained. If required, develop training modules with the external help from the other services like other hospitals, clinics, medical equipment, manufacturers, and medical products and medical products manufacturers, etc. For example, you can ask the manufacturer representative to train the OT staff in proper handling and maintenance of a biomedical equipment, say for example CR. Also we have to maintain the records of all such trainings. And there shall be a feedback mechanism to understand the effectiveness of training imparted. And we should have a standardized feedback form for all different training parameters included in the feedback. And the parameters included in the feedback form should be relevant to all different training programs. And analyze the feedback based on the results of the feedback, make changes to the existing training modules and introduce new modules if required. The training topic should be covering at least the following: occupational safety aspects, infection control protocol, hand hygiene, proper use of masks, gloves, protective eye gear, and proper disposal of sharps and needles, correct handling and segregation of biomedical waste, identification and proper handling of hazardous materials, mercury, ether, ethylene oxide, radioactive service, okay, and if applicable, and housekeeping, cleaning and disinfecting chemicals, cooking gas, medical gas, etc. And these are something which are to name a few. And teach the staff the importance of material safety data sheet, MSDS, while working with hazardous materials. Identification of risk within the hospital and methodology for preventing, repeating, eliminating, and minimizing the risk. For example, fire, inhalation of hazardous materials, etc. That should be training should be given on that. Handling an emergency situation, say BLS or ACLS, mass casualty, code blue, code pink, etc. The training on these areas should also be given. And the hospital staff's responsibility in caring for the patients, for protecting the patients and family rights. So then identify, the HR department has to identify suitably qualified, experienced trainers from various departments for conducting the training program. And some trainings are specific to certain categories of staff only, but some trainings like BLS, mass casualty, occupational safety aspects, fair mock drill, patients and family rights, risk within the hospital should be given to all categories of staff, including outsourced staff stationed within the hospital premises. At the discretion of HR and top management, it can be decided which training should be for a specific category and which training should be given to all staff. The HR department should develop and document a procedure for disciplinary and grievance handling, and this should be implemented across the hospital without prejudice and should be made known to all staff. Some aspects of disciplinary action may require legal compliance also, and the hospital must be aware of this legal requirement. The staff should be made aware of the method of complaining and lodging their grievances. All such issues should be involved in an impartial manner, following principles of natural justice. And we had to maintain records of all grievances and the actions taken to redress them. It is preferable to have a multidisciplinary committee for disciplinary and grievance handling and harassment cases. And the HR department should develop, document, and implement policies and procedures for addressing the health needs of hospital staff, including the outsourced staff stationed within the hospital premises. The outsourced companies say even if they are having their own health schemes, still the hospital should also plan health schemes for the outsourced staff. That is, it is said like that. It could be in the form of health checkups conducted either half yearly or yearly, and outsourced staff are also to be immunized and develop. We have to develop immunization plans for direct patient handlers like doctors, nurses, and technicians, housekeeping staff, and any other such categories of staff. Maintain proper schedules of immunization of staff, and health checkup results, actions, and action taken should be action to be taken should be recorded, and health schemes availed by the staff, that shall also be included here. And now the HRD should be actively involved in the quality improvement initiatives, and there should be a documented procedure for maintaining, monitoring, and measuring quality indicators. The department head can identify the quality parameters that need to be monitored for continuous quality improvement of the department's processes. And but parameters that have been identified by NABH have to be maintained and monitored. These are: 1. Employee satisfaction rate. This can be captured through a standardized feedback form, and the feedback form can be taken half yearly. And the employee attrition rate, the percentage of staff leaving the hospital, and the employee absenteeism rate, and the percentages of employees aware of employee rights, responsibilities, and welfare schemes. This parameter is also the measuring scale for the effectiveness of the staff training and communication by the HR department. So entrust the responsibilities for maintaining the quality parameters to identified persons in the department, and ensure that these are monitored and measured at regular intervals and records maintained. Review the results of all such monitoring and measuring activities for their effectiveness and continued suitability, and make further changes if required. Attrition and absenteeism trends need to be tackled carefully in consultation with other decision makers. Doing a root cause analysis will help us to find out this problem and devise suitable corrective action and preventive action to prevent recurrence and occurrence. Then, apart from the four core parameters mentioned in the above, HR department may also maintain and monitor and measure the following parameters. Number of variations in the mock drills. That is, prepare a checklist of the parameters that we would like to capture in a mock drill. And it could be related to the fire safety, mass casualty, and infant abduction, etc. And percentage of employees provided pre-exposure prophylaxis. So, from the presentation made, we may be able to understand that the HRD in a hospital is entrusted with a large amount of functions, and it has to function as a leader and a strategic business partner for the organization, and for that it has to be necessarily totally supported by the top management, and also there should be sufficient staff and other infrastructural facilities for the HR department function effectively. And fortunately, in most organizations, the HR department is very much patronized by the management. As such, the HR departments are very much progressing in their performance of the task entrusted to the HR department. So, the large number of functions the HR department has to carry out, and without sufficiently qualified staff are also required, and all the infrastructural facilities, and for training, etc. Internet is also a must for the department, and so with such infrastructural facilities and good and qualified staff, the HR department will be able to function very effectively to meet all the objectives of the HR department. Thank you.